All right, Chris Arnone here, the Bearded Gamer. We are at Major League Gaming 2012 Spring Championship, and I'm here with the one and only Clutch. Now, there's not a whole bunch of StarCraft 2 players that watch our show, and we're trying to change that. So for all those noobs out there, why don't you tell them what you do for MLG?
Well, I am a private contractor, and MLG hires me to be a host. Also, I interview and interact with the crowd. And my role is to help tell the story, the human story of these different players, to hype the crowd, to get everybody excited. And really, so many people here come from around the world and watch internationally some incredible esports action. And it's such a thrill to be here and to share my passion of video games and competition to everybody.
So what initially attracted you to esports? I mean, we kind of know what brings the pro gamers here. You know, they love the game, they get really good at it, they think, maybe I can make some money with this. But how did you get into it?
Well, I've played video games since I was very young, and I played a lot of Brood War, and StarCraft 2, I was super excited for it being released. And when I heard that Major League Gaming was going to be hosting a tournament in North America, I was really excited. I've heard of esports. I was familiar with the Brood War scene in Korea and games like Counter-Strike that had pro competitors. It was a scene that I respected, but I wasn't fully invested in. And I attended the event in Raleigh. I actually tried to register to compete, but I wasn't able to because I sold out really fast. My friend Wigan was able to compete, and I went down to Raleigh, North Carolina, to support him and check out the event. It was great. StarCraft was a little small in the corner there, but it continued to grow. And after that first event, I met some key people at Major League Gaming and told them, hey, I have an acting background, a performance background. I would love to help out if you guys need it. And they said, we need a cameraman, so they hired me to be a cameraman for the 2010 season. The 2011 season, some things shifted around. I came back as a production assistant, helped with the streams and communication and the Korean players coming over, just everywhere. Almost at all times, I was running all over the place to iron out any issues that were going on. And once everything was ironed out, we noticed that there was a lot of crowd shots. And they knew of my background. I said, guys, I can do interviews, we can hype this up more, and they decided to start using me in that capacity. And so now I'm a host, I'm talent, I get to work with the casters, and it's a great time. And I love esports, I love the competitive feel. Video games, just playing on my own multiplayer, but to see professionals play it at such a level that's so astounding, and that spectators can watch, be enthralled by it, and have a great social interaction with each other, it's truly a magical thing.
Yeah, I think we just saw you have a great time with MC and his crazy, super fast win and his little dance with a hat and everything, and that was pretty cool. So, a lot of fans out there, they may not be a pro gamer. Like me, I suck at StarCraft, okay? Never going to happen. But how can other people help to promote esports and help get it out there and make it bigger?
That's a good question. A lot of people know what esports is. They have favorite players. And the first thing I would always say is support your players. And esports is nothing without the players, really. I mean, it's the players and the fans. Everything else is built around that. So if you really want to support esports, support your players, support your teams, buy their products, buy their peripherals, buy their t-shirts, and use that to advertise something you're passionate about. And when you support them, even monetarily, it helps the entire scene. Now, to continue to spread it, social media is fantastic. Twitter is such a great tool that people can use to tell their friends, tell people that follow them, hey, you should check this out. YouTube, streaming, Twitch TV, that's all avenues that people that have not seen esports can be attracted to or can be guided to check it out. So if you truly want to support it, support it with your dollars. We all vote with our money. That's the truth. And pick your favorite player, sponsor them with your fandom, as we say, with your passion. And truly, since you'll be so much more invested in esports, so many more people will see kind of the light in your eyes when you talk about esports, and they'll be piqued by your interest. So that's what I try to do. So
absolutely, I think that's some great advice. So, of course, some big announcements going on in Major League Gaming right now. One, of course, Heart of the Swarm is coming. And how do you think that's going to affect Major League Gaming when it's finally adopted and starts, being competitive?
Well, I asked the same question to Dustin Browder at BlizzCon, and he said, referring to Blizzard, we didn't make esports, y'all made esports, referring to the community. Right. And so There is a little bit of hesitation of adding in Heart of the Swarm during a pro circuit event or any kind of league, the different league ops that they have with the different changes. But Blizzard communicates with the pro scene. They are very concerned, or they're a lot more interested and are spending a lot more time in the esports scene right now. We see it now here. I mean, the World Championship Series, bringing Heart of the Swarm to MLG Anaheim, the Spring Championship, it's fantastic. So every league has league ops or league operations, and they configure pretty much what's balanced, and to make sure that it's going to be fair for all the competitors and to communicate with the developers. And Dustin Browder said that it's up to the leagues really to decide when to incorporate Heart of the Swarm. This year could completely finish out Wings of Liberty. Let's say Heart of the Swarm comes out around Christmas. Maybe that off season for esports is enough time for players to adapt. But those league operations will make that decision. I'm excited about Heart of the Swarm. There's some very intriguing changes made to it. I actually had a little bit of time to play as Terran at the. We have 200 computers here for people to play it. But we'll see what happens. But I trust in Blizzard staying on top of their game and to make sure it doesn't completely disrupt the competitive scene.
Yeah, we actually talked to David Kim, the balance guy, a little earlier today, and he was all over that, and very much paying attention to the pro circuit and trying to make sure it's balanced for them as well. And of course, the other big thing going on right now is the recent partnership between KeSPA and Major League Gaming. So you have these sort of legendary Brew Wars players now are going to be coming into the StarCraft 2 scene. Now, how big of an impact do you think that's going to have on Major League Gaming?
Well, if we wind the clock back and understand the history of competitive gaming in Korea and how Brood War was a significant title in the West or internationally, but maybe in Europe Counter-Strike was bigger, or in America something else was bigger. But Brood War has always been so huge in Korea. And I was a big fan of Brood War. I played it since I was a teenager. And I love the story, and I love the competitive play of it. I didn't compete on any sort of professional level, but I would compete at local lands in the Seattle area where I'm originally from. And when StarCraft 2 was released, it was this brand new fire was inserted into esports basically. With these KeSPA players being here, we all need to respect the legacies that each of the Brood War players have made and the foundation that Brood War put down so that StarCraft 2 can be what it is today and that esports can be what it is today at an international level, especially with RTS games. I'm very excited to see these players. I'll be introducing these players on the main stage, so it's such an honor to be able to meet them, to interact with them, and for everybody here to watch them play. They're not on the same level as players that have been playing it since it was released in 2010, but this transition needs to happen. And it's not a single event, but it's a process. And to have everybody get to be on the same page, on the same game around the world is going to be such an awesome thing. And I'm really looking forward to it.
Do you think the foreigners are still going to have any chance once all the KeSPA players really get up to speed?
Well, I think the gap between Koreans and the foreigners is closing, a little slightly, one tournament at a time. And because of the background of Brood War, those players have had a huge following, a culture built around professional gaming that has allowed them to have team houses, to have sponsorships that other countries, other places in the world haven't had a culture that's completely embraced that. This is amazing. To have this in North America is fantastic. To have other events like DreamHack in Europe is incredible. And more people are seeing this and understanding that this is not some small little thing that people do as a stereotype. This is real. These are athletes, man. They train, they work hard, they sacrifice some things, they dedicate themselves, and they produce incredible entertainment. So, with that being said, Korea still kind of has that advantage with the history of Brood War and esports, but more and more team houses are cropping up in the West and internationally, and I feel with more time and with the metagame shifting and people understanding more and more how the game works, and with more dedicated money towards esports outside of Korea, we'll start to see that it still really is anybody's game, even though the Koreans are dominating, but it'll be even closer.
So another big, maybe not as many people are aware of it, it's not making as big headlines, is the recent partnership with CBS Interactive. And of course, you're talking CBS, even if that's the web part, that means you guys are going to be bigger on the web. When do you think maybe we're going to see Major League Gaming on television?
So we hear this question a lot, especially since CBS Interactive made the announcement that they're partnering with Major League Gaming, Twitch TV, NASL, and other organizations. And the old style thinking of how media worked is there's a status of television, right? I've been on television. I've done a couple TV shows. I've done some commercials. I'm an actor by trade. So it's great. I'm like, oh, I'm on TV. My parents can watch this. This is fantastic. But the internet provides a wonderful distribution system that anyone can access in specific ways and at specific times. And it's starting to trump television. The thing about television is that it's always been a better quality than, 56K modems back in the day, right? But now with high-speed internet, broadband internet, you can stream 1080p live straight to your computer. So with that being said, it would be great to have esports on television. It's been there in the past with different organizations, different leagues, tournaments that they've broadcasted with different channels. But the internet, like television in the past, is growing with esports. Television and traditional sports grew together and benefited from each other. Internet and esports is growing together and benefiting from each other. So it's like a repeat of history. Absolutely. So to put all our chips into saying that television is our goal is not the right mindset. It'd be great to have that because it provides a lot more eyes to see esports that are not used to internet directed or internet distributed content. But to me, man, the internet's the future. So
I think it's the present, really.
It is, definitely. It's the past a little bit, too, or it was, but back in the 80s compared to like the 4 different connections you can make in the United States. But I don't watch television. I watch the shows that I want to watch legally, of course, and I'll download them.
Sure.
I will use iTunes to purchase different episodes, but I don't have cable, and I watch Twitch TV. That's the show. That's the channel I watch. Seriously. So to me, that's what I do on a daily basis, and I know more and more people are starting to do that.
Okay. And so, last question we got. It's a biggie. It's a doozy. Who do you think is going to win these weekend's tournaments?
Well, I'm going to have to go with Team Polt, TSL Polt. He had some incredible performances at the arena, the MLG Spring Arena number 2. Violet won that arena. Right. He did a great job against Symbol. Those were some out-of-this-world Zerg versus Zerg matches. So him or Polt, I think, can go very, very far. We'll see, though. There's so many great players out there. I know people say that, but there really is. And there's a lot of talented players that really dedicate so much to doing their best here at these MLG events. And honestly, for people in the open bracket, it's a marathon. It's very difficult. But we saw Lenok win a couple events ago, and it's still anybody's game. But for me right now, it's going to be Polt, personal favorite, but at a professional level, the real people that win